spread love. So, welcome to another Tipping Points. And today we look at something that I have recognized and believe is a brand new kind, in a sense, of racism. And the question is, are you a part of it? Because there is a kind of prejudice that I think is eating away at the very heart and soul of America. And so the question we have to ask ourselves, all of us individually, myself too, is am I a part of this new kind of prejudice that is eating away at the very heart of our country? There is racism in our country. There has been, and of course there is, and there probably always will be, to varying degrees. But now, right now, in this day and age, in this time, I believe it isn't racism that is the biggest prejudice. I believe it is politicism. There has been racism, and now there's politicism. There were racists, now there's politicists. And it is, in a sense, a kind of cyst in the body of America that we need to remove. So let's take a look now and see if maybe you or I is a part of this new prejudice. A politicist taking part in politicism. And so racism is defined as racism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different race based on the belief that one's own race is superior. Therefore, politicism is defined thusly. Politicism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different political ideology based on the belief that one's own political ideology is superior. And so the question is, are you a politicist? Are you prejudiced against people of a different political persuasion? Do you practice discrimination against people of a different political persuasion? Now, as I was researching this, I found that the word discrimination is maybe the most important word to take a close look at. So discrimination is defined as discrimination, treatment or consideration of or making a distinction in favor of or against a person or thing based on the group, class, or category to which that person or thing belongs rather than on individual merit. So the key here of all of this to me is this concept of individual merit. Individual merit. We must strive, I believe, to judge everyone on their individual merit. Not the color of their skin, not their religious practices, and not their political ideologies. Their individual merit. You see, I know people who believe that all Democrats are stupid. I know people who believe that Republicans are stupid. I know people who think that if you voted for Trump, you must be brain dead. And I know people who think that if you voted for Hillary, you must be brain dead. Oh my gosh, doctor, I came as soon as I heard. What happened? Well, I'm sorry to tell you. Looks like he voted for Trump. He's brain dead. Is there anything we can do? Oh, wait a minute, it could have been Hillary. Has the same effect. But I'm sorry to say, there's nothing we can do. Remember that being a racist is to judge an individual based upon a group in which they belong instead of their individual merit. And so, as we believe these, if we believe these ideas about Democrats or Republicans, then we're practicing politicism, racism in politics, politicism. We're being a politicist, a racist in politics. Now here's where things are going to get a little gray as we seek to go deeper into this analysis of politicist and politicism. because we have used the definition of racism to help us create the definition of politicism, we must go deeper. And it's the second half of the definition of racism where we're going to have to step into mastery as seekers of truth. The definition of politicism is, as we have stated, politicism, prejudice, discrimination, or antagonism directed against someone of a different political ideology based on the belief that one's own political ideology is superior. Therefore, I believe in the political realm, it is then mastery. Here's where mastery steps in. When we can begin to believe that our ideology might very well be superior without being judgmental, discriminative, or antagonistic towards someone with a different political ideology. Eureka! There it is! You see, it is then and only then we can step into honest and open discourse without letting emotions take control, so that we can begin to redefine and raise up our own beliefs, our own ideologies into something closer to the truth, because no one has a monopoly on the truth. No one. Certainly not the Democrats, certainly not the Republicans, nobody. But if we can open the discourse without discrimination, antagonism, then we can begin to redefine and define and evolve our way of thinking and our consciousness, and yes, even our politics. And so I submit to you one new word for your consideration. A politicimistry. Here's how I define politicimistry. Politicimistry? The practice of believing one's own ideology might be superior while at the same time only ever judging another person on their individual merit, not their political ideology. And so I'm going to take a moment now to point out the obvious. I know this is obvious, but sometimes the obvious just needs to be stated. We have to say it so we get it. Here's the obvious. Just as it is true, no single individual black person is going to have the exact same belief, the exact same ideologies on every single thing in the world because they're black. They're not going to. Just as it is true that every single white person certainly does not hold the exact same ideological views and belief systems as any other white person. That's why we have to judge individuals on their merits, not because of their groups. So it is also true that every single individual Democrat, is going to be different, is going to look differently at the philosophy of what it means to be a Democrat. And so it is, of course, with Republicans. Every single Republican is not going to hold the exact same view of every other Republican. To think so would be a politicist. That's why we have to be able to listen to each individual as an individual within that label, which if you know me, you know I really hate labels. I don't like them. But within that label, there's going to be all shades and views and ideas. But if we judge people by the label, oh, you're that label. You're that label. Get away from me. Don't come near me with your label. Your label stinks. I don't like your label. If we think everybody of a certain label is going to be exactly the same, then how can we ever have discourse? How can we open up and create a better ideology? So let me give you an example of a politicist, a rampant politicist practicing regularly politicism. Ben Affleck, the actor Ben Affleck. He is a politicist, a political racist. Here's what he said. He literally said, I cannot watch a movie with a Republican in it because I know I wouldn't like them. Really? You just know it. Absolutely know it. You just wouldn't like them because they're a Republican. How could he know? How could he know? When we practice politicism, political racism, we are cutting ourselves off from the opportunity, the ability to, first of all, to grow ourselves, but from half the country of people to get to know somebody. How does he know that that person isn't one of the best could be one of the nicest people on the planet? He could be volunteering, giving to charity. He could have adopted somebody from a country or somewhere who needed adoption, which, by the way, Republicans do all the time. Be involved in charities and adopt people. It's true. But Ben Affleck is cutting himself off, his own heart off, from humanity by being a rampant politicist, practicing politicism. So here's your test to find out if you are a politicist. A politicist. Here's your test. Question number 1. Do you believe that Democrats are, relatively speaking, lazy compared to Republicans? Or do you believe that Republicans are, relatively speaking, greedy compared to Democrats? You see, if you believe that Democrats are lazy compared to Republicans and Republicans are greedy compared to Democrats, you're practicing politicism. You can't do that. That would be judging an individual based on a group in which they are a part, instead of on the merits of that individual. Ding! I think I just got an email or something. It goes ding! It's like, yes, that's the truth, coming from the internet. But the only way to move past and into the heart of humanity is to let go of our prejudices. And right now, I believe that politicism, political racism, is the most divisive thing in our country. We're judging individuals based on the group. It's the same thing as being a racist. It's the exact same thing. And we're allowing, oftentimes, emotion stop us from having dialogue, which can help us rise above and reevaluate and create new and better ideologies. And so, my friends, have you been a politicist like Batman? It's time we all step into the mastery of politicistry. This place where we can actually evolve our consciousness. This place where we can actually begin to redefine and find the flaws in our own ideologies. A place where we can hold the possibility that our ideology might be superior and yet not be in judgment, discrimination, or antagonistic toward another person's political persuasions. And so with that, my friends, there comes the music. Seek truth, spread love.
If you're new to YouTube, then let me explain. You gotta give a thumbs up, that's how we play the game. You see, the more thumbs up a video gets, the more the powers that be distribute the video for others around the world to see. Next to subscribe button, there's a little bell. You gotta click on this little guy as well. Then only then will YouTube inform and let you know that Tipping Point Productions has got a new video. So give a thumbs up, click the bell, and share the love. So together we can take the truth and rise above. Hey, hey, share the love. Yeah, yeah, yeah.